some smooth jams.
Smooth.
Courtesy of our guest DJ, Mandy Pereth-Berg, one of our loyal viewers.
She picked the Wham song too? Or
she picked
the Wham song. Very good.
Oh, Mandy.
Very good.
Let's
Very
get the verdict going with the Detroit Emergency Financial Manager. What is this about a lawsuit being filed?
Well, there's a 51-page lawsuit filed yesterday. Boiling it really down, it says that because there's an emergency manager, the voters of Detroit don't have any voting rights anymore because they've been taken by the emergency manager. Now, I am not buying the lawsuit, really. We still will vote for mayor. We still will vote for council. There will still be an election. Kevin Orr right there, the emergency manager today. He was the emergency financial manager at the start of the week, but he will have some authority. There's no doubt about it. I think there's a better legal argument for this whole emergency manager issue is that the voters just in November voted to do away with what they call Public Act 4. That was the emergency manager law. And then the legislature, in a very quick period of time, put in something called 436, which is the current law in which Kevin Orr is going to govern. To me, there's at least a challenge that what the voters voted down was substantially similar to what the legislature enacted. That you can't do. Now, saying that, I recognize there are some differences. For example, if after 18 months the voters of Detroit don't like Mr. Orr or what he's doing, vote him out. They can do that through city council. It takes 2/3 vote, but they can do that. Plus, the city council has other options. They can do a consent agreement. They could even go into bankruptcy, which is different than the old law. Bottom line here, I'm not a big fan of this lawsuit filed against the emergency manager, and I really think that I wish these people would kind of put their collective energies, of which they're pretty bright people, into solving Detroit's problems. It's not through the courts, it's through the negotiation process.
Detroit wouldn't have nearly as many problems if not for the former mayor. Now he's got a problem, his bum knee.
He's got a bum knee, that's right. And he used the bum knee to say, hey, Judge, I want out of jail so I can take care of my bum knee. He's not limping there, is he? In fact, every time I saw Kwame Kilpatrick, he was like running out of court and running away from reporters. I don't think it's got anything to do with his knee. Bottom line here is the judge, who really kind of heard these arguments when the verdict came in anyway and threw him in jail. Nothing's really changed. Kwame Kilpatrick has violated his probation. He was on a tether during the trial. I mean, nothing's really changed. It's not a shock to me that the judge said, no, Kwame Kilpatrick, you've got to stay in jail until the sentencing date, which, by the way, has not been set yet. I think the real thing here is that Kwame Kilpatrick was convicted on 24 very serious felony charges, including racketeering. Couple that with the fact that he's a two-time convicted felon already. Couple that with the fact that he has had problems while he was on parole. He's staying in jail. And I think the same thing will happen to Bobby Ferguson as well.
I wonder how much does the judge consider him a flight risk? If you're facing a long jail term and you may or may not have some monies stashed offshore somewhere, you got out under a bum knee and then made a run for it.
Well, that's right. Well, the judge used that as her legal argument to keep Kwame Kilpatrick in jail, that he is a flight risk. I think more so the judge was really thinking that he didn't. What are you laughing about that?
You didn't hear that? No, you don't have an IFP in.
Oh, I don't have that. I think something making funny.
Rick played the Fred Flintstone Escape.
Oh, that's good. They should have played that. Now that would have been good.
All right, let's get on.
Kwame's not going anywhere. He's going to jail. That's all he's doing.
Let's get on to Judge McCree. Hot dog.
Hot dog.
Ain't no shame in this segment's game. Let's get on to Judge McCree.
Well, there may not be any shame in his game, but the Judicial Tenure Commission says there's shame with Judge McCree in his courtroom. There's a lot of sex going on. Now that's the picture that he got in trouble for with the Supreme Court last year, but now apparently he's having sex in his chambers. He's
was.
That's right. He doesn't have a chambers anymore. He's been on a unpaid suspension. That's not good. Anyway, Judge McCree, listen, it's not the sex part. I don't know what you got, some inside joke here.
No. Our stagehand Bobby, he's making faces every time this goes on the screen. This shot of Judge McCree, he's like,
He's Judge McCreepy, I think. Yeah, that's really what it is. Well, he's got a lot of problems, though. It's not the sex part that bothers me, really. It's the fact that he was talking about a case that was pending in front of him. Lawyers don't talk about cases with other people in general. Judges can't do the same thing. And to make it all worse, the person that he was talking about, that person's ex, had a case in front of this judge. I think Judge McCree he's going to go down. He's not going to jail. It's not criminal, but he won't be a judge for much longer.
Last but certainly not least, the gay marriage SCOTUS, as we call it, Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah, two big cases there, really boiling it down to its basic
defense of marriage.
Really, yeah, Defense of Marriage Act. But, you know, I mean, why should we treat gay people different than married people? The competing argument, though, is that why don't we let states vote? Many states, including Michigan, said, hey, we want marriages between a man and a woman. I think realistically, though, the judges could rule in this case that if there now appears to be a trend toward gay marriage, that the appropriate spot for that is not in the courts, but in Congress or in the state legislatures. And we got a little hint of that this time during those oral arguments. Again, a decision is expected in June. It does have a very important effect on a case pending in Michigan. We will have to wait.
So have you managed to come up with one of those British
I'm working on that. That's the hard part.
Why would Charlie be looking for one of those British wigs to go along with a judge's robe and a gavel? We'll have to stay tuned later in April to find out.